It was a quiet spring afternoon in Washington, D.C., the kind that hums with diplomatic routine, until two lifeless bodies shattered the calm. Just steps from the Capitol Jewish Museum, in broad daylight, Israeli embassy staffers Yaron Lischinsky, 30, and Sarah Milgrim, 26, were gunned down in what appeared to be a targeted attack. Hours earlier, they smiled for photos, glasses raised, at a peace-focused reception. Now, their names echo through headlines around the globe. The accused. A man shouting political slogans, his motives tangled in conflict and ideology. But how did this tragedy unfold in one of the most secure parts of America's capital? Why these two? And what secrets are still hidden beneath the headlines? This is not just another crime, it's a message, a mystery, and a moment that may change everything. Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. Yaron Lischinsky started each morning with a run along the National Mall, rain or shine. A former IDF officer turned diplomat, he believed in structure, in small acts of discipline that kept the chaos of the world at bay. Sarah Milgrim, fresh from Tel Aviv University, brought warmth into every room she entered, curious, bright, always scribbling thoughts into her weathered leather notebook. They weren't just co-workers at the Israeli embassy in Washington, they were friends, sometimes teased for staying too late at work, dreaming aloud about a more peaceful world. Their lives moved to the rhythm of briefings, late coffees, and weekend museum strolls. The Capitol Jewish Museum, just across the street, was their favorite escape, a quiet place, sacred in its stillness. But in that stillness, something had started to shift. Unmarked vans lingering too long. A figure seen twice in the same shadow. Nothing you could report, but enough to feel. Something was coming. It was Thursday morning, May 15, 2025, when Sarah first noticed it, the same silver Honda parked just across from the museum 3 days in a row. Always alone. Always idling. Yaron brushed it off, half joking that in D.C., paranoia is just part of the job. But then came the package, unmarked, delivered to the embassy's front desk without a sender. Inside, a single sheet of paper, a map of Gaza, hand-drawn in red ink, with no explanation. The security team ran protocols, the staff was briefly debriefed, but nothing official followed. Could be a prank, someone said. But Sarah's instincts whispered otherwise. She started leaving work a little earlier, glancing over her shoulder more often. Yaron began locking his door, even during meetings. These were small things, quiet things. But they cracked the routine just enough to let fear in. And what neither of them knew was that someone was watching. By Sunday, the unease had settled into Yaron's bones like a quiet ache. The silver Honda was gone, but now a different car appeared each day, never in the same spot, always lingering just a bit too long. Sarah swore she saw the same man twice, dark hoodie, pale scar beneath his eye, standing across the street with a phone he never used to talk. At the embassy, nothing seemed amiss, but outside, the air felt wrong. One night, while reviewing a briefing at home, Yaron's laptop glitched, just for a moment, and an unfamiliar file name flashed across the screen, truth_in_war. It disappeared before he could click. He told himself it was nothing. A bug. But his dreams turned restless, filled with alarms and static. Sarah, too, grew distant, distracted, as if waiting for a door to slam somewhere behind her. They didn't speak of it directly. Not yet. But both felt it. Something was circling. Closer now. On May 19th, just 2 days before the shooting, Yaron found something he wasn't meant to see. While preparing a security memo, he accessed archived footage from a nearby surveillance feed, a standard check. But in one clip, time-stamped 2:17 a.m., the museum's side door creaked open, and a figure stepped out. Not in uniform. Not staff. The same man Sarah had described, hoodie, scar, phone clutched in a motionless hand. The system labeled it a motion anomaly, and flagged no threat. But Yaron knew better. He showed Sarah. Her face went pale. "He's been inside," she whispered. That night, they didn't sleep. They traced plate numbers, cross-checked embassy visitor logs. And then, they found a name. Elias Rodriguez. A former political science student. Arrested twice during Gaza protests in Chicago. Known online for fringe manifestos. Neither of them could say it out loud, but they both knew this wasn't random. This was planned. And they were the targets. As the sun rose on May 20th, Yaron and Sarah sat in a cramped embassy office, the glow of their laptop screens painting their faces with shadows. Elias Rodriguez was no ordinary protester. His online footprint revealed a torrent of radical views, calls for violent action, and chilling declarations like "Free Palestine" shouted at his arrest. The deeper they dug, the darker the picture became. Authorities confirmed Elias had flown cross-country just days before, with no clear reason beyond vague political motives. The embassy's quiet corridors now felt like a ticking bomb. Yaron's hands trembled as he shared the findings with embassy security, feeling the crushing weight of responsibility. The fragile line between political protest and terrorism blurred into a terrifying threat. This wasn't just about ideology, it was about lives. And those lives were now hanging by a thread. The question lingered, could this nightmare have been stopped? On the evening of May 21st, tension gripped the embassy like a vice. Yaron and Sarah faced a cruel dilemma: evacuate staff and risk exposing fear to the public, or maintain calm and hope the threat would pass. Meanwhile, Elias Rodriguez, fueled by conviction and rage, made his move. Surveillance footage captured him pacing near the Jewish Museum, the weight of his intent heavy in every step. The city's usual hum was shattered by gunfire, 2 shots echoing near the embassy's doorstep. In those seconds, the fragile peace crumbled. Yaron and Sarah became targets, symbols caught in a violent clash beyond their control. As the smoke cleared, a chilling question remained: could anyone have prevented this? Or was it the inevitable outcome of a world divided by hate and fear? The answers, buried beneath grief, awaited discovery. The chaos of May 21st left Washington reeling. Yaron and Sarah lay lifeless outside the Jewish Museum, their dreams and hopes extinguished in a brutal moment. The embassy staff was shattered, grief tangled with anger and disbelief. Security protocols tightened, streets emptied, and a heavy silence settled over the city. Elias Rodriguez was captured, shouting, "Free Palestine," his face a mask of conviction and fury. The world watched, horrified, as political lines deepened, and fear seeped into every conversation. Yet amid the darkness, a small beacon emerged. Voices from both communities called for calm, for dialogue, refusing to let violence define their future. It was a fragile hope, a whisper against the storm. But in that whisper lay the question haunting everyone: could this tragedy inspire change, or would it only deepen the divide? In the days following the tragedy, the embassy community found strength in unity. Survivors, colleagues, and friends came together to honor Yaron and Sarah's legacy, their unwavering belief in dialogue and peace. A breakthrough emerged when a young intern discovered encrypted messages on Elias Rodriguez's devices, revealing not only a lone plan but hints of a wider network that had gone unnoticed. This revelation mobilized law enforcement, sparking a swift crackdown on extremist cells and preventing further attacks. The diplomatic corps, shaken but resilient, renewed their commitment to protecting their own and fostering understanding amid conflict. In that darkest moment, a fragile light began to shine, proof that even in the face of violence, courage and hope can prevail. Could this be the turning point that finally shifts the tide? In the weeks that followed, the shadows over Washington began to lift, but the scars remained. Yaron and Sarah's lives became a solemn reminder of the fragile peace diplomats strive to protect every day. Security measures tightened, conversations deepened, and the city grappled with the uneasy truth: that hatred can reach even the most guarded places. Yet, amid the sorrow, their commitment to dialogue and understanding inspired a renewed sense of purpose across communities. Now, the question lingers: how do we confront violence born from division without losing our humanity? What role will each of us play in shaping a future where peace is more than a hope? If this story moved you, hit subscribe, share your thoughts below, and join the conversation. Because some stories don't end, they echo. What will your echo be?